My name is Brent Cooper. I'm president and owner of an IT services company here in Northern Kentucky called C-Forward. And I'm also a parent here in the Fort Thomas School District. I have two daughters, one who is a fourth grader at Moyer Elementary and one that is an eighth grader at Highlands Middle School, which is now ranked the best middle school in the state. Go Birds. They asked me today to participate in one of these first ed talks about the digital conversion. What does that mean for Fort Thomas? So the digital conversion first means for me is that every kid at the Highlands Middle School and now the Highlands High School will have a laptop in their hands. Every single kid. We are leveling the playing field to make sure that every kid has that technology. It means we're going to be providing a learning experience that is relevant, meaningful, and engaging for our kids. It means we're going to expose students to skills and competencies that correlate with real-world success. And let's face it, there isn't an industry today that doesn't use computers. I mean everybody, doctors, dentists, realtors, plumbers, electricians, pharmacists, you name it. Everybody is using computing technology today. We feel this technology will better prepare our kids for the future. It will. And we want our kids to be globally aware and understand that their future role in this global economy is important. Every one of us, including our kids, are digital citizens. And that comes with risks and responsibilities. So let's teach our kids about that now, so they'll be prepared. This digital conversion will enable us to more effectively and efficiently utilize resources to support student achievement. So what does that mean? That means we're going to stop spending as much on hardback books and more on digital books that can be easily transferred, updated, maintained. It means less paper. It means quicker grading for our teachers and better communication with parents. It means we'll enable our educators to spend more time teaching. And it's going to enable our parents and businesses to be more easily engaged with the parents and the students. The bottom line is this: the digital conversion is going to help us be a better school district. We are continuing the tradition of excellence here at Highlands. We're leading the way here in Northern Kentucky just like we always do. And I think it's something to be proud of. Now I have to tell you, as a parent, I have concerns about the new technology and the potential hazards that come with it. I'm sure some of you do as well. I think we all have. And it's not like we can go to our parents for advice. I mean, the iPhone is only 10 years old. The iPad's only 7 years old. The iPhone's 10. Our parents didn't have to go through that. They didn't have to experience what we're experiencing. I only had 3 channels growing up on TV, maybe 4 if you count PBS. And our kids are now watching Netflix on their phones, right? And they're getting instant answers using Google. It's a completely different world. And more than most, I understand the concerns that we all have. So what do we do as we go through this digital conversion? Well, first off, we establish limits, just like with anything. We monitor closely and in partnership with our kids. We trust, but we verify. The school is doing its part with firewalls and virus protection and regular security reviews, but we need to do our part as well. We need to talk to each other about things like inappropriate texting and blogs and cyberbullying. These are topics, again, that our parents didn't have to go through, but we do. We have a responsibility to do it. We need to talk about better passwords, about why security matters for all of us. It's critical for our kids to understand that for the future. We need to do the best we can to navigate these waters, understanding this is uncharted territory. But what we won't do is ignore the benefits of new technology. We won't put our heads in the sand. We're going to adapt. We're going to work hard, and we're going to ensure that Fort Thomas continues to be the best place in the state to prepare our kid to be college and career ready. I applaud the Fort Thomas Independent School District, the school board, the superintendent Gene Kirshner, the Education Foundation, and all the parent volunteers that are working so hard to make this digital conversion possible. I'm proud to be in Fort Thomas, and I hope you are as well. So it's my pleasure now to hand things over to Susan Anderson. Thank you all very much.
So here we are, just finishing up our first year of our digital conversion. And in just 1 year, we can already see enhancements in teaching and learning in our school. Our teachers are able to make content even more interesting and more engaging for our students. The processes in our classroom have not simply been replaced. The delivery has changed, and in turn, the lessons have been transformed. One example from my own classroom is a project that previously was a pencil paper project. And it explored biological events that occurred through geologic time. And although I really thought the project covered the content well, our digital conversion has taken this project to an entirely new level. The students explored the same basic content, but in a more authentic, more creative way. iMovies were created by groups of students. They were asked to explore not only the biological event, such as the appearance of the first insects, but were also expected to explore the evolutionary advantage of each of these new organisms as they appeared through time. Also, I expected, well, a lot from my students, or at least I thought. I would, believe that I had those high expectations. But giving them the freedom of creation that comes with having digital availability, they really upped their game. What they created was much more involved and creative than what I would have required of the project. Another wonderful surprise that I got came with this transformed lesson. In some cases, I truly heard some of my students' voices for the first time. I mean, I've heard them speak to me before, but now I was hearing them speak to the world. I was truly hearing their voices. Students who would struggle to stand in front of a group in a traditional setting were freed to create voiceovers to accompany images which they picked out and created. Voices that would typically quiver or stumble were confident and strong. The assignment's directions were even enhanced by making them available in a new piece of technology called BlendSpace. This allowed the students to have 24/7 access to the assignment and allowed me, as a teacher, to reflect and adjust the assignment even as the students were working on it. The comment section on BlendSpace, it allowed my students in one class, maybe second period, to work with groups that were covering similar content in another class, maybe fourth period. Those periods could communicate with each other with asking questions, sharing ideas, sharing resources, and truly collaborating. Isn't that the way we really work in the real world? We're no longer placed in a solitary classroom, a standalone classroom. We're part of an actual worldwide learning community. They weren't simply reading, listening to a single instructor. They were actually authentically interacting with an expert in the field they were studying. With that, I would like to introduce one of our administrators, Dr. Dawn Labor.
Mrs. Anderson exemplifies how technology can change the way we look at education. If the adults allow themselves to keep an open mind to the advances of technology, the students then feel empowered to make their own choices and start taking control of the learning process. She spoke about many technological creations in her classroom, and all of these followed what we call and we use the SAMR model. Now, SAMR is an acronym, S-A-M-R, and we're going to explore that a little bit with a typical assignment. Let's say persuasive writing. If students are working on persuasive writing, normally they would start their rough draft and write on a piece of paper. And what we do, and that would be considered S, substitution, if they decided to type on a computer. So the S in SAMR as substitution would mean that they decided to take notes from their persuasive essay or to type their persuasive essay on a computer. They're substituting computer for paper and pencil. Substitution. The A in SAMR is augmentation, and that's where the computer actually enhances the effectiveness of what you're doing. So in this case, persuasive writing, a student highlights a passage while they're typing and uses a dictionary to define or better understand the meaning of a word in research they used in their persuasive essay. That's the augmentation in SAMR. The M is modification. If they decided to modify what they were doing, their task, for individual learning, you've moved to the M in SAMR, modification. So for the persuasive essay, if a students publish a blog of materials that they used in their persuasive essay to convey an argument or provide a deeper analysis of material, they have moved on to modification using their technology. And sometimes this can be done because the teacher says, try this, and sometimes the students realize that this makes their learning process better. Either way, they've moved on to the M in SAMR. Finally, we have R, and that's the redefinition of what they're doing. They create an entirely new task. They've moved on to something that would be impossible without technology. A use of a collaboration station to share their work and get immediate peer feedback is an example of a redefinition for persuasive essay. Or if they publish a digital essay that allows others to comment, give feedback, maybe even debate their persuasive essay, they've now moved to the redefinition. They've used technology to talk to maybe people all around the world, experts in the subject. They've redefined their task. The SAMR model has really helped us at Highlands Middle School. It's created a place where the kids feel free to take chances, and they like that they're now speaking in their native tongue. It's almost as if something finally clicked for them and they were able to say, I've got this. I don't need your help on this. Right now, I can move on my own, and it frees the teacher up to be elsewhere in the room where someone does need her or him. So, what are the biggest changes for Highlands Middle School since our digital conversion? We're only a year in, so I expect things to change even next year. But so far, we've made a complete shift from giving information to students to facilitating information so they can learn at their own pace. We've empowered the students to reach further, using the technology they have based on their individual strengths and weaknesses. And what we found is accommodations that used to be known for kids on individual education plans are what are good for all kids and best practices that they're getting on the computer. They can actually talk and have the computer type for them if they're slow at typing or if their words aren't coming the way they want. Or they can have the computer read to them so they can hear what they wrote. And all kids are using this to make their learning better. We're shifting from being the one who helps them to being the one who allows them to help themselves. And all of this is due to great teachers and due to technology. For this change to happen, we had to stop and redirect our overall philosophies, our overall plan, our overall methodologies. We started focusing on the skills that would prepare today's learners for tomorrow's world of work, which we all know isn't even created yet. I don't know the expectations for my 6th, 7th, and 8th graders right now, but I know it's going to involve innovative thinking. It's going to involve high-level thinking, and I know that they're getting that. Do I think our kids at Highlands Middle School are prepared for tomorrow's world of work? Absolutely. The digital conversion has made that happen and will only continue to get better. I'm so proud of our staff. I'm so proud of our administration from the top down who allowed this to happen, and I'm so proud of our students for embracing it. I invite anyone who wants to see what we're doing to come see it in person. Highlands Middle School is proud of our students. We're proud to be Highlands Middle School, and we're so glad of what we've accomplished.